In this video, we will show you how to replace your front window motor on this Nissan Maxima. This will be located inside of your front door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Along where the grab handle is, you're going to find that you have a plastic trim panel that we're going to remove. For this, it's easiest if you use a small pocket screwdriver to break it free. We'll just make our way right down in this area, gently pry it away. Just a quick inspection of that, you can see several locking tabs making their way all the way up and across. This looks like it's still reusable, we'll set it aside. Behind where that trim panel was, you're going to find a small push clip. To remove the push clip, carefully start dislodging the center to unlock it, and you can remove the outer portion. I'm just continuing on with my small pocket screwdriver. You can also use a small trim tool if necessary. Just pull that right out of place. That's what it looks like in the unlocked position. Now we'll start removing our window switch panel. For this, I'm going to start gently prying along the forward area here. We're continuing with our small pocket screwdriver. You can also use a trim tool. Just go ahead and start separating that. It should roll up and out of place. Keep in mind there are two wiring harnesses attached to the bottom of this that we will have to dislodge. Now looking at these electrical connectors, you should find that you have a small locking tab that you're going to need to depress, and then you should be able to pull this out of place. The larger ones right here, just press that in. Every time you disconnect an electrical connector, a quick inspection for corrosion. This looks fine. Let's continue on. This one has a push tab as well. Just want to go ahead and press that in. Pull that off. Quick inspection. Now with that window switch panel out of the way, let's have a look deep inside this area. You can see a 10mm headed mounting bolt. You could also use a Phillips head screwdriver for this if necessary. I just use a 10mm. Now we're focusing back near that grab handle. If you were looking deep up into this area here, you're going to find another 10mm headed mounting bolt. Let's start removing that. Now moving from that grab handle, we're moving to the inside door handle. If you were looking just behind the handle itself, you're going to find a small plastic trap door. For this, I'm continuing with my pocket screwdriver, and we're going to pry out close to where the door lock knob is. Now for this, you do have to roll it out and away. On the outboard side, it has this small hooked area that will slide into the panel first during the installation. So we're going to come in at an angle and then lock it in here. For the removal, we pull it out here and pull it out. In and behind that area, you have a 10mm headed mounting bolt. We can remove that. This one's considerably smaller than the other two. Now let's move to the bottom of the door panel. Down along the bottom of the door panel is where you're going to find your courtesy lamp. We're going to dislodge that using our small pocket screwdriver. Up along the top area here, typically you can make your way in between the door panel and the courtesy light and gently start separating it. We're going to roll it away. It has two locking tabs up along the top here. On the bottom is where there's two small ears that will curve in and into that door panel first. During the installation process, we'll be starting at the bottom and rolling it along the top. Now to disconnect this, right along the top area here, we have our small locking tab. Go ahead and pry that out of place. You know what to do. Just a quick inspection of this as well, and we'll set that aside. Now we're switching to using a plastic trim tool. We're going to start separating the door panel from the door. But you have to keep in mind there's a couple things that we'll want to pay attention to once we do start separating this. Up where the inside door handle is, you're going to have two cables leading to the back side of that. And at the top of this door panel, it has a small hooked area making its way all the way across. We will have to lift up on the door panel to pull it out and away. Now with that said, we're using our plastic trim tool. Let's find an area that we can slide this in between the door and the door panel. Right down along the bottom works easiest for me. Let's go ahead and start separating this now. Now we'll start lifting it up and we'll have a look along the back side. With that door panel pulled away, we have our two cables. Let's start dislodging them. You're going to find that the outer sheathing of each one of the cables is pressed into the inside door handles, so we're going to have to separate that first. This is fairly simple. Just go ahead and take hold of it and slide it out of place. A quick inspection of the cable as we continue on, sliding it out. At the very tip of the upper one, you can see that we have this angled tip here. This looks like it's still in good condition. It's not damaged or broken in any way. Let's continue on to the next one. This one, same process. Just go ahead and pry it up and out of place. As we pull this one away, you can see a small ball at the very end. Quick inspection. We can remove the door panel. Now with the panel out of the way, we can see our window motor directly in the center here. Along either side of that, we do have these foam circular port covers. You just want to carefully dislodge those. We don't have to fully remove them. Typically, I just use my small pocket screwdriver. I'm going to try to make my way around, generally along the bottom and one of the sides. I'm just trying to separate the stickiness. You can fully remove it if necessary. Typically, you shouldn't have to, but if it comes off fairly easily, you can. Just a quick inspection of that. Let's get this next one. Same process here. It looks like it's already starting to come up, so that's kind of nice. Start pulling that away. Now, continuing on from here, it's a good idea to have your window in the fully upright position, and we're going to hold it there with something such as tape. This can be easiest if you have a second person to help you along. With that said, if your window is not in the fully upright position, go ahead and reconnect your window switch. For that, we're just going to press this in here. We'll align this one, press that in as well. Continuing on, you want to put the key in the on position and power that window into the fully upright position by pulling on your switch as necessary. Once you do have that in the fully upright position, you can remove the key power and disconnect your window switch. Let's tape that window in the upright position. We want to make sure that this cannot come down for any reason. I'm just going to use some painter's tape for this. You can use pretty much anything that'll stick. Several strips should do. Now let's start dislodging this panel. We're not going to fully remove it, but we do have to gain access along the back side. To be able to gain access, we're going to have to dislodge the window regulator from this panel. Along each side, you're going to find that you have two 10mm headed mounting bolts that we'll have to remove. We have our next two on the far side. By removing those four bolts, it essentially breaks free the window regulator, which passes in and behind this area, straight up and down. It has two channels. Now we're going to start removing all of our 10mm headed mounting bolts that make their way around this panel. All of these mounting bolts should look the same. You do not need to worry about mixing them up. We're going to start taking hold of the panel and trying to remove it. You're going to find that it does have two small locating tabs holding it in place. There's one right here, one on the opposite side of the panel. There really isn't too much you have to pay attention to, an exception of just taking hold of this, and we'll start pulling it straight out and away. Now let's make our way along the outside here. We're going to start disconnecting our window motor. I'm using my small pocket screwdriver. We can pull down on the locking tab here. Just a gentle pry, a quick inspection. You're going to find that you have three 10mm mounting bolts holding this in place. Let's start removing those. All three of these mounting bolts should look the same. You do not need to worry about mixing them up. Now Now, before I grab the last one, let's go ahead and hold on to that window regulator along the back side. Should be able to take hold of that, and we can slide that off of there. Remove that mounting bolt and separate the window motor. There it is, friend. Before we install our window motor, let's just have a quick look at our window regulator where the window motor will slide into. The window motor will have a shaft that slides into this port. Just make sure it's clean and free of any miscellaneous debris. Let's get this in position. We're just trying to align it with its mounting ports on this panel itself. You may have to twist it a little bit as necessary. Now that I can see that starting to protrude through, let's get ready to install our window motor. With the window regulator in place, we can continue on with our window motor. You want to make sure you have your mounting bolt ports aligned with the corresponding area on the panel here. When you start pressing this through, you also want to be reaching along from the backside. We're going to hold that regulator in place so we do not push it out and through. Should be able to just move things around a little bit as necessary. We'll get it aligned. Start in each of your 3 mounting bolts. Once they're all started in, you can snug them up. When tightening these, I generally like to have a hold on that window regulator along the backside. I'm holding it to the panel. Go ahead and take hold of that window motor. We're going to give it a wiggle. Double check to make sure that's properly secured. Also, you want to make sure you have a quick peek along the backside, double checking to make sure everything's seated properly. We don't want to be off kilter here. Now let's reconnect our window motor. Press that in, listen for an audible click, a light tug. Now as we start bringing this into position, a couple other things to pay attention to is along each side of the panel, you do have one alignment pin. That'll slide into its corresponding port on the door itself, and we also want to make sure we have the cables on the outside of the panel, not in and behind there where you can't use them at all. If you have those pins aligned properly, this should slide into place fairly easily. Go ahead and start in all of your mounting bolts, making their way around. Now we are not going to tighten those yet. Let's continue on to reattaching our window regulator to the back side of this panel. Once again, you can align that by carefully reaching in through the circular ports and maneuvering it around as necessary. One way or the other, go ahead and start in each of those mounting bolts as well. Once we have all the hardware started in, you can go ahead and snug it up. Now I can see it right up inside this port. Obviously it's a very small port on the panel itself, but if you reach inside, take hold of that window regulator, I can move it around and I can see the mounting bolt port. Now I'm pulling this directly up against here. It doesn't look like it's perfectly aligned. Just use a small pick. We should be able to align it at least enough that we can start in the mounting bolt. Once you have it aligned, just go ahead and hold pressure. Holding that up against the panel itself, we can start in each of the mounting bolts here. Okay, let's get this one aligned. There we are. Time for the other side. Let's see. Okay, this one definitely has to come up quite a bit. Hold some pressure on that. Okay, let's get that other one moved around here. Okay, all the mounting hardware is started in. Let's snug it up, starting with the window regulator hardware. Those 4 mounting bolts along the center. With all those in place, let's continue on to all of the rest of the hardware. Just install our protective plugs in each one of these two areas here. You can use some tape if necessary. Let's get the tape off of here. Now it's time to install our door panel. We'll start with the two cables along the back side where the inside door handle is. The lower cable is the one that has the circular tab at the end. We'll go ahead and bring that into position. Now we're going to swing it in along this area to lock in the base of the cable. Just go ahead and press that in, listen for a click. A light tug. Continue on to the next one. This one has a hooked end. That's going to slide directly into its corresponding port right in here. This is for the door lock. There it is. Now we'll latch this in as well. Line it up, press it in, listen for a click. Double check, make sure they're both secured. There's several other things that we'll pay attention to as far as bringing in the door panel. Down along the bottom, we have a wiring harness that's for that courtesy light. That's just going to go through that lower port. Slide it right on through. Now that we have that slid through the lower port on that door panel, the next thing we want to pay attention to is the two wiring harnesses for our window switch. Make sure you have those aligned in an area that you can gain access to them. Continuing on, we're going to have to get the door panel up into place. A couple things to pay attention to is for that would be up along the very top of it, we have a hooked area that will go up along next to the window. Other than that, along the sides of this, you're going to find that you have several push tabs that need to fit into their corresponding ports on the door itself. Let's start getting this in position. We'll come in at an angle with the top first. Once it's aligned, go ahead and press it in. Couple light taps. Let's make sure this is properly aligned and we can gain access to each one of our wiring harnesses as necessary. Once it is aligned, just go ahead and tap it into position. Double check all the way around, confirming it's properly secured. Along the bottom, we're going to start reinstalling our courtesy lamp, plug it in. Now we're going to roll this in position, starting with the bottom, lock it in with the top. Now let's get this in here. Bottom it out, make sure it's nice and tight. We're going to continue on with that plastic trap door. As I mentioned during the removal process, it has this small hooked area that will slide into here. So we're going to start there and then we'll roll it into position, locking it in close to where the door lock is. Let's get the screw in here as well. Now we're going to make our way deep inside this area. We have our next long bolt. Let's get our window switch panel back in place. We're going to start with the electrical connectors for these. Just go ahead and line them up, press them in, listen for a click. A light tug. Now we'll start getting this into position. We're going to roll it into position, starting with the area closest to the armrest. We want to bring that in first. Now I'm going to press down on the forward end here. You should hear an audible click locking it down. Inside of this area, we have the area for our push pin. You want to make sure you have it in the unlocked position. Once you slide in the outer portion, lock it in by pressing in on the center. Let's get this protective panel in place. Just go ahead and line it up, press it in, listen for a click all the way around. Okay, friend, we finished our installation. The next thing you need to do is go ahead and test the functionality. Aside from that, you also want to make sure you test the functionality of your inside door handle and your courtesy lamp. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.